On Labor Day weekend 2025, I hopped aboard my new Triumph Trident 660 with nothing but my backpack and set out for an epic adventure to faraway lands. It wasn't too long after I hit the road that I realized this is a really stupid idea on so many levels. It was going to be a long, drawn-out joke where I made you think I was doing one thing, but ended up doing something way less epic. It might have been funny, if not mildly entertaining, had I actually thought any of it out. I did not.
Ugh. That's nasty.
And so I plugged along, alternating between writing the script in my head and thinking of ways to gracefully bow out of the whole thing. It wasn't until the heat started creeping up toward the 100-degree Fahrenheit mark that I realized it was time to just get through it. To get to my destination, get comfy, and think about my life choices. And also, what the story of this adventure was going to be, if there was to be a story of this adventure. In the end, I got to where I was going, talked to nearly no one along the way, and didn't suffer any major heat stroke. So I had that going for me.
See, the joke was going to be, I was going to come to Moscow. I had a Russian language book and everything. And I was going to pretend to speak Russian to everyone and make it sound like I thought I was coming to Moscow, Russia, not Moscow, Idaho. Yeah. Just saying it makes me realize how dumb of an idea this all was. Anyway, now I've got myself into a situation where I've already dehydrated myself because the ride here was like 100+ degrees for at least 4 hours of the 6 hours I was on the road. And now I've got to go another 6 hours home where the weather's beautiful right now, but I know what's going to happen once I get about halfway into this trip. It's going to be 1,000 degrees. It might rain. I don't know. And I'm on the Trident today because my Himalayan is still in the shop. So while it's a great bike, it is no touring bike, which I learned yesterday in about the third hour of this trip. So anyway, I'm going to hit the road back to Portland from Moscow, Idaho, and we'll talk along the way. I got to come up with better ideas. This one was really dumb. Like, really stupid. There's a point on each one of these adventures that I do, whether they're overnight adventures or long cross-country trips, where I hit what I like to call the freedom point. That's sort of the point of no return, where it doesn't make sense to go back if you just don't feel like continuing or something goes wrong. But it's also that point when you leave all your troubles and worries behind and you start living for the road. And that's sort of the point where I'm at right now. I'm in the Columbia River Gorge, and today I'm going on an adventure of a lifetime. I'm going to Moscow.
It's Labor Day weekend here in the United States, a time for barbecues and celebrations with family and friends. For me, it's a time to take a trip that I've been meaning to take for a very long time. So I filled up my backpack, got a fresh tank of gas, and hit the road. To get to Moscow on this trip, oddly enough, I'm going east. That's what the map says. I don't know. It also says it's only going to take about 5.5 hours to get there from where I am right now. That seems impossible. But Sarah Palin could see Russia from her backyard. I can get to Moscow in 5.5 hours. That's all I'm saying.
Alright, it looks like I'm north of Umatilla, and the good news is I've only got 160 miles left to go. The bad news is, this is not a touring bike. I can't feel my ass, and I think I have internal sweating. I don't know. Okay, I gotta get some gas, and continue on to Moscow because I think there's a festival tonight. Heat stroke is what this is. It's seriously like 98 degrees. I forgot to bring water, although I don't really have a place to put it.
Five hours and 21 minutes of riding time to go. I should get home about 1 o'clock in the afternoon after 357 miles of riding. Now, it says 5 hours and 21 minutes, but I'm obviously going to have to stop for gas, probably lunch, get myself a chair, and yeah. So I'm realistically looking at getting home about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I would imagine. Well, we're 159 miles in on this trip today with 3 hours and 6 minutes of riding time, and I'm just about to enter Oregon. The last time I was on this road was when I was coming home from my cross-country trip. And on that trip, well, I left a little souvenir behind. Right? Anyway. To say I'm a bit knackered would be an understatement. And I'm not even halfway through this trip. I still got another 205 miles to go. So, I'm gonna put my big boy pants on
No, I already have those on. Yeah. Hit the road. Maybe stop and get some lunch. I don't know. The temperature currently is 85 degrees, so I can't really complain about that. I could complain about the bike not starting when I start it. This has been an ongoing problem. I wouldn't call it a problem, per se. It's more of an irritation. Anyway.
I've come to realize that these little overnight adventures that I've been doing are really my thing. I really enjoy them. This one, in particular, hasn't been, the most enjoyable one I've ever been on. But that's down to severe heat and not being on the proper bike for the ride. I'm not saying this is a bad bike for touring. It's just not ideal. My Himalayan 450 is pretty ideal. Unfortunately, that bike is still in the shop. I'm starting to wonder whether I'm ever getting it back, if I'm being completely honest. Not because anyone's doing a bad job, it's just we can't seem to figure out why it's pulling to the right. And at some point, I'm going to have to either fish or cut bait on that bike. That's just the way it is. I can't tour on a bike that pulls that severely to the right, and I can't not tour. That's what I do. That's my thing. So, hopefully that'll all work out. If it doesn't, quite honestly, I might be in the market for another bike. I have no desire to not have a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. I really like that bike. But if it's not going to do the damn thing that it's supposed to do, which is go straight when I take my hands off the handlebars, like I'm doing right now, straight as an arrow, then we're going to have to figure out a new solution. What that new solution is, I don't know, because I've now spent my entire motorcycle budget for the next 2 years, and I don't quite have another however many $1,000 to buy a new bike, even if I were to trade the Himalayan or, sell it back or just lemon law the damn thing. I don't know what I'm going to have to do. Who knows? But I'm not going there yet. I still have high hopes that everything's going to work out. I'm going to strap my new Lone Rider gear to the back of that thing and have many adventures. One of the most exciting parts of this weekend's adventure was I found a new doodad for my handlebars. This is new. I know it looks remarkably like my old one, but I found this on the side of the road. Well, actually, it was tied to a post in Dayton, I want to say. Dayton, Washington. And so I untied it and put it on my motorcycle. I don't think that's technically considered theft, since it was probably tied to that thing for like weeks. I don't know. Anyway, new doodad. I've said it in previous videos, and I stand by it when I say any bike is a touring bike. You could tour the entire United States on a Honda Monkey, and in fact, that'd be kind of a hoot, and I'd be totally there for that. The difference between an optimal touring bike and something like this is this bike's seating position doesn't really lend itself for long days in the saddle. I'm not saying it's undoable, but it's not the most comfortable thing in the world for, hours and hours on roads like this. My butt is starting to hurt my legs are starting to get a little bit like not loving the bend angle I've got going in my knees. My back is fine and my arms are fine. And like I've said in the past, I really don't care too much about wind protection. I've been at it now on this trip a total of 9 or 10 riding hours, and the wind without a windscreen isn't bothering me really at all. I have my earplugs in to knock down some of the noise, and it's just not a thing for me. Maybe it would be in super windy conditions or in the extreme cold, or if it was pouring rain or something like that. But for normal day-to-day, I'm not all that bothered by not having wind protection or fairings or anything like that. But the difference is, on my Himalayan, I'm much more stretched out, a lot more comfortable, and a really key thing on the Himalayan is that I can stand on the pegs. Now, technically, I can stand on the pegs on this bike, but at anything over, say, 30 miles an hour, it gets really sketchy. Because the pegs are up so high, when you stand, you're up way high, and it disrupts the entire sort of balance of the bike. It's no fun, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, another BugMoto Overnight Adventure comes to a close. We did 363 miles today, and I still have another 3 or 4 to get home. Total trip was 710 miles, plus another couple of miles to get home. My body hurts a little bit, I gotta be completely honest. My butt is killing me. My legs are a little iffy. Again, the back and the arms are fine. My neck sort of killing me a little bit. I think it's because it's time to upgrade this helmet. It's a little heavy. The camera doesn't help either. I didn't have the camera on most of the way, but the helmet itself is a little heavy and it's very loud, this Neotech 2. So it may be time to start thinking about a more overnight adventure appropriate helmet. That's it. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, do that whole subscribe thing. Click the likey like button. You know the drill. Catch you later.